Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, the 20th of February, 2025. I know it feels like the last few weeks have been a year, but it's only been a month since the inauguration. Hi, my name is Graham Hughes, if you've not been here before. Hello and welcome. Big shout out to Leonardo's Embroidery Journey, to Scott, to MH Carer, Hayton Puds, to Roxy Rules, Gunny and Jeannie Bottle in the chat. If you would like to join them, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button and you will be subscribed. And then in a minute's time, you can write what you like, but don't be a troll or we will mute you and boot you. So thanks so much for joining us today. We're obviously going to be talking about this capitulation to Trump, of Trump to Putin. We're going to be talking about the backlash. We're going to be talking about the fallout. We're going to talk about the potential things that might happen because we know what's happened. Like Trump has folded like a house of cards. He has turned over and just allowed Putin to do whatever he likes. He has given Putin all of the Trump cards and essentially called Zelensky, who is an elected leader of Ukraine, he has called him a dictator in defense of an actual dictator, that being Vladimir Putin. The good news is that about 3% of the population think that Russia didn't start the war, or rather the war was started by Ukraine in this country. So that, that's positive. Although that entire 3% seemed to phone up LBC yesterday to go, oh, I just love Putin. I mean, he had no choice but to invade that foreign sovereign country that has nothing to do with Russia and speaks a different language and does things differently and has a different church now and everything. Basically, if there's people there and there's some land and there's some natural resources and Putin wants it, well, Putin should be allowed to take it, shouldn't he? It's unreasonable. It's unreasonable of us to say no to that kind of thing. Well, really, okay. That's what people thought in 1938 when Neville Chamberlain famously came back with his piece of paper saying, "Peace in our times," after they just surrendered half of Czechoslovakia and the Sudetenland to the Nazis. And they thought, oh, they'll stop there. Yeah. They'll stop with their living space. So Trump has effectively handed a huge win to Russia in, with his acolytes going to Riyadh and meeting up with Putin's gruesome familiars. And yesterday, obviously, I covered all the details on that. But today, we're going to be talking about what this means, the betrayal of Ukraine, the betrayal of Europe, the betrayal of America, the betrayal of Western values, the betrayal of all that is just in the universe, and what it means to the future of Western alliances. So first of all, Keir Starmer came out straight out of the trap. Or is it called the trap? What's it? Straight out of the cage, whatever. And he's feeling just fine. And he called Zelensky a democratically elected leader, which he is, and pushed back against Trump's dictator slur. He reminded the public that it's reasonable to suspend elections during wartime, just as the UK did during World War II. And America did during the Civil War. Starmer's preparing to visit Washington to confront Trump directly, aiming to secure a US backstop to deter Russian aggression. But this is the mad thing, like even Trump-leaning conservatives like Kemi Badenoch, who's just loves Trump and because she's a House person, she defended Zelensky. She came out and she said she echoed Trump's rhetoric about Europe needing to pull its weight, but I think that's bullshit as well, because Europe as a collective has put in way more money to Ukraine and its defense effort than America has. So what are we not doing enough of? Now we're going to have to give even more of the money that should be being spent on hospitals, schools, fixing the fucking potholes in the road. We're going to have to spend that now on defense against Russia because of America. Trump is now the reason why your kid ain't going to get a decent education, why your nan isn't going to get treated in hospital until she's, on her last legs because she's got to wait 6 months for the operation. Trump did that. Remind that of any Trump supporting people that you ever might meet. You see a pothole in the road, Trump did that. Well, we could have had the money to spend to fill that hole up, but we've had to spend it on defending ourselves against the fucking Russians like it's the 1950s again. Great, super, smashing. And then the Lib Dems, obviously, they call for a united stand against Trump's dangerous lies. So yes, can't disagree with that. Okay, so across Europe, you had Olaf Scholz, who described Trump's comments as, I quote, simply wrong and dangerous. He highlighted the risk of legitimizing Russian aggression and undermining Ukraine's sovereignty. Because here's the thing, right? We'll talk about this maybe a bit more later in the show. But what this doesn't just give a green light to Putin, right? This gives a green light to wannabe dictators all over the world, wannabe expansionists, countries all over the world that have border disputes, which is a lot of countries, which are all kind of kept in check by the universal idea that you don't invade someone else's country. It's a bit rude. Those borders are there now. Whatever borders were down, let's say at the end of in the last few years, a country that has been admitted to the UN, and they said, this is your borders. But this is giving a green light to countries like Venezuela that wants to invade its neighbor Guyana and steal all its oil. This is giving a green light to Rwanda that wants to invade it has invaded its neighbor, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and take all of the mineral resources, the coltan and things like that you need in your mobile phone from the areas around Goma, a city that's been taken by the Rwandans. They say it's the M23 rebels, but it's the Rwandans. It's Paul Kagame's regime. And there are dozens of examples around the world of aggressive, bigger countries attacking. Well, actually, in the case of Rwanda, it's a small country attacking a bigger country, but that's by the by. In most cases, it's a bigger country going, I want more. I want my country to be bigger. I want your resources. I want your oil. I want your minerals, wealth. I'm just gonna come in and take it. I'm gonna just come in and take it. And there's a difference between the invasion of Iraq and the invasion of Afghanistan, which weren't to do with annexing part of Iraq and making it American or making Afghanistan British or something. It wasn't about that. It was about liberating the people, apparently. But failure on both counts there, but whatever. At least you got rid of Saddam Hussein, because there's no way that people would have risen up and just beaten him to death at the side of the road, like what happened in Libya to their dictator, and or what happened to Assad, I guess. Although he's still alive and living it up in Moscow, I believe. But yeah, this gives a green light to dictators all over the world, to power-mad, narcissistic psychopaths all over the world to go and create trouble, which means that rather than heading towards a more peaceful planet, we are now on a trajectory towards a much more violent planet, And it's all Trump's fault. Trump has done this. Well, the Trump voters, the people who voted, the dickheads, the fucking lazy, feckless morons who voted for Trump, they've got blood on their hands. They've got so much blood on their hands, which is something I said as soon as he was elected. But, here we are. So, yeah, we've got Republican dissent. We've got people like Ken Aldman saying it makes me sick what's going on now. We've got John Bolton, who's criticised the Trump's team for alienating allies and appeasing Russia. We've got Democrats like Leon Panetta, who was the Secretary of Defense in the Obama administration, saying Republicans are basically taking a walk on national security. Even former Trump allies like Mike Pence, who Trump famously wanted to hang, openly criticized Trump's statements, showing cracks within the genital obsessed party. And Pete Baker and Michael McFaul, former US ambassador to Russia, have warned of dire consequences, which I've just touched upon. And media and we got people in the media just talking about Trump's total capitulation to Putin. Like, there was a cartoon, maybe I should have put it on the thumbnail. There was a cartoon of Trump playing poker with Putin, and Putin is sitting there with all these riches and all of Trump's clothes, and Trump's sitting there naked on the seat with his cards going, I'm winning. European defense initiatives. We've got increased defense spending on the horizon. That's going to happen everywhere, I think, across Europe now, and the potential for a new European military alliance independent of NATO, or we could just call it NATO. Just call it NATO and just get rid of America. Just say, yeah, see you later. Or how about the democratic Defense Alliance, the DDA. Does that work? The DDA? I don't know. Rosie, thank you very much for the super chat. First super chat of the morning. Thank you very much. Hi, Graham. Thanks for all you do. These are frightening times. Yeah, Rosie, thank you for the super chat. But yeah, they are frightening times, and I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm scared. Like, I honestly feel like very, very worried. I'm very worried about the future of the world. The way it's all going at the moment is not to a good place. It's not to a happy place. It's not to a place where we come together to fight against climate change, which is the big existential threat facing humanity. No matter what Trump thinks he's going to do, he's not going to wipe out humanity. Well, touch wood. But the fact that he has absolutely upended the pact that came in after World War II, never again, not letting dictators dictate to democracies, which is what Putin is doing. Putin is dictating America. Putin is in control of America now. What Putin says is what America does. How embarrassing, how sad, how bitter. But there you go. So Zelensky has remained defiant, but obviously he's feeling increasingly isolated by all this, and the danger of being forced into an unfavorable peace without European or American support looms over him. And obviously there's the moral impact on this. Ukrainian forces are still fighting, but will this undermine their morality? The morale? I don't think so. Having been there a few times now, having spoken to a lot of Ukrainians, having helped Ukrainian refugees get to where they need to be across Europe and across the UK, I must have met over 100 Ukrainians and spoken to them about what's happening and what's going on, and they're all incredibly defiant. They're all like, well, they come back to what Trump's doing here, and instead of being demoralized, they say "fuck you," quite rightly. And although I am scared, although I am worried, concerned about the future for me and my stepdaughters, at the same time, I'm not cowed. I'm not gonna shut up and go away. I am defiant. It makes me even more bloody minded. It makes me want to make these videos and talk to you and shout as loud as I possibly can. Which if I'd gone to a private school, I could probably shout a bit louder. But I deal with the tools I've got, or the tool in my case. I deal with this tool here. But yeah, I still remain defiant, and I still keep my sense of humor, which I think is important. From what I've, speaking to Ukrainians, that's their attitude as well. Fuck that orange, disgusting what's it. But in terms of it weakening Ukraine's resolve, I can't see that happening. I might be wrong, but I can see them saying, no, fuck this shit. This is, it's us against the world, which is a bit like Britain in World War II. At the beginning of World War II, don't forget, after the Phoney War went on for a few months, and then we had the Blitzkrieg across Europe, in which Hitler took Luxembourg, Netherlands, Belgium, and then managed to take France, and we had this humiliating retreat from Dunkirk. But Britain did keep fighting. It didn't go, oh yeah, well, I suppose he's got all this now, he should leave him to it. No, we kept fighting. We became more belligerent, became more defiant. And the voices on the far right in this country, like Oswald Mosley and his black shirt, brown shirts, black shirts, green shirts, whatever fucking colour shirts they were wearing, fascist scum, they shut up pretty quickly. They shut up pretty quickly, which is what's going to happen, eventually. So next we have, what's next for the USA? Well, more divisions in the Republican Party. Good. I hope that Trump is the end of the Republican Party. I hope this is it. He is the final nail in the coffin of the Republican Party, and what grows in its place is perhaps the Democrats, who will become the right-wing party or the slightly right-wing party, because it's not left and right in America. It's the ones who are centre-right and the ones that are far-right. So the centre-right are the Democrats and the far-right are the Republicans. So maybe this will be the opportunity that, our friend Mikey was talking about having a new party set up, and much more socialist, liberal, left-wing party. And that would be the party to fight against the Democrats. And then you'd have that much better situation where you shift the Overton window far back to the centre, the left of centre, and you argue about in Parliament, in their Congress, you argue about how you can make everyday life better for the people that you serve, rather than how you make billionaires even fucking richer when they've already got $1 billion. Like, you know, what is it? 1 million seconds is 11 days. A billion is 32 years. Yeah. And these people need more. Yeah. Anyway, so Leonard was saying, I don't know, because of Democratic Republic of North Korea, maybe Anti-Dictatorship Alliance, ADA. Ukraine will never give up, just like we would have resisted in World War II if invaded on the beaches, etc. Yeah, I can actually say that. We already got the Joint Expeditionary Force. We do indeed. Leonora says, Gray mentioned at the top of the chat, recommend Times Radio interview with the guy from Lincoln Project titled Exile of Elon Musk will mark the demise of Trump. Yeah, I don't think Musk is going to get exiled. I think he's going to be put in jail. And I don't know how long he'll survive in jail. I think he's going to be Epsteined. I think Trump is going to Epstein. I'm pretty sure he's going to Epstein him. He'll blame everything on him. He will be the scapegoat. He will, we'll have a night of long knives, America style, and he'll be taken out, snowball in Animal Farm. Anyway, moving on. We've got, you've got sort of the split in the GOP between the Trump loyalists and the traditional conservatives. But will, those traditional conservatives, will those senior Republicans like Lindsey Graham, John Thune, or Roger Wicker finally speak up? I don't think they will. I honestly don't think they will. I think they are cowards. Generally, they're only interested in feathering their own nest. They're not interested in the best for the American people, the American Republic. They're not interested in the best for the world. They're not interested in the best for democracy. They don't give a shit. They're only there to make money for themselves, to feather their own nest. So if they do say something out, about what Trump is doing, I'll be a bit surprised. They should do. They fucking should do. So I'm not going to give them a round of applause for doing what they're supposed to do anyway. Just, yeah. But there you go. And what signal does this send to China? We're saying about bigger countries just invading smaller countries now without any threat of the international community, coming down on them like a ton of bricks. China's looking at Taiwan still. It's still envious of Taiwan, which would be a mad thing for China to do, because they will never take Taiwan. I've been to Taiwan, and spoken to Taiwanese people about this very subject, and they said to me, we will fight them. Fight them on the beaches. I mean, the same attitude as the British had to the idea of being invaded by Nazis. Any country being invaded by another country that doesn't speak the same language, that doesn't share the same ideals, that doesn't have the same democratic system in place, or just even if they did, would we be happy about being invaded by the USA? And them saying, "Oh, but we speak the same language, it's fine." No, we fucking wouldn't. We want to say in our own business. I believe in devolution. I believe in the federal states of fucking Europe. I believe that countries should be allowed to make their own decisions based on what's best for them. I don't want some one overall power broker deciding what we can and can't do, especially when it's one squishy little human. I will relent and say, yeah, I tell you what, when it's a situation where there's a democratically elected assembly, like the European Parliament, and they come together and they make legislation go through, but it has to be ratified by us in our own country. It has to go through our parliament. Fucking great. That is actually a really, really good system. It's like double democracy. We get to vote for our EU lawmakers, we get to vote for our UK lawmakers, and I want to vote for our lawmakers, well, by lawmakers, I guess, in at a local level. More regional mayors, more devolution. Great. Fantastic. I want more of a say. I want more people that I can write to when things go horribly wrong. Because, if you've got a conservative MP, I don't fucking listen to you. I don't care. Oh, Happy Enough. Welcome, member. Welcome, Happy Enough to Politics Social. You are now a member. I've got to add people's names to the end of the show, but we'll be talking about that in a moment. I found Threads more depressing than Brazil. I assume you mean the film rather than I assume you mean the TV film and the film Terry Gilliam than you found Threads, the social media platform, more depressing than Brazil, the country. You can see how that could be interpreted two ways, well, four ways, really. But, yeah, I know that's not what you meant. He says Chinese strategy tends to be based on Sun Tzu, and they are more likely to sneak land where it's not expected, like Siberia, maybe. Hope it's that. 100 lines, Katrina. I must set my alarm clock. Best high degree says Pete's Music. I think it was Jake Bro who said the other day that China doesn't have its main gaze on Taiwan because they talk about it too much. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a point. Because I was going to say, it wouldn't be in China's interest to invade because the Taiwanese would keep fighting and it would just be a massive drain on the Chinese economy. And after the Evergrande, is that the name of the company? After that massive, hit to their economy that they've had over the last couple of years, I can't. But then again, we thought this about Russia. We thought, well, they're not going to invade Ukraine. It'll be too expensive for them. They'll have all these sanctions put against them and their country will go bankrupt. And, isn't he ill? Hasn't he got cancer? I don't know. Quit with the copium. But it's also sending, not just in Europe, who are already questioning America's commitments to Europe, but countries in Asia, countries in Africa they've already reeling from the fact that US aid has been absolutely shuttered by the richest man in the world. And now, what does this send? We're not going to help you with your trade. We're not going to help you feed your starving children. We're not going to help you if you get invaded by a neighbor. It's calling for anarchy around the world. And this is what the industrialists want. This is what the late stage capitalists want. They want us all fighting each other so they continue to burn oil, gas, coal at a rate that is just mind-blowing. We're burning more and more every year, even as the world gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And soon we're going to hit a tipping point. Very soon we're going to hit a tipping point. And we're going to lose London. We're going to lose New York. We're going to lose Jakarta. They're going to go. They'll be under fucking water. You can't build a fucking wall quick enough. I'm sorry, you just can't. Trump couldn't even build a wall to fucking between America and Mexico. You're going to build a wall across the whole fucking eastern seaboard of America to stop the fucking tide coming in. No, you're fucking not. Don't be daft. Anyway, so if you cozy up to Trump, basically you get a free pass, which is a dangerous precedent to set for autocrats worldwide. Billy Kershaw says, I'm slowly waking up this morning. Sometimes you wake up and think, maybe I'll just go back to sleep. So we've got... We're heading to the new world order. Isn't this mad? Isn't this the thing that all the conspiracy theorists on the right were going on about for years about being the new world order and the industrialists and the secret people in the shadows with all the money controlling everything? Well, they're doing it now in the sunlight, in the daylight. And where are these conspiracy theorists now? They fucking love it. They're like, yay! Finally got that thing I've been warning people about for the last 20 years of my life while I smoke loads of weed. Okay. This is Russia basically. If its win is that it's legitimized as a superpower, on the world stage, which is bullshit. It's not a superpower. It should never be seen as a superpower. It's a fucking minnow. It's got a GDP that's comparable to fucking Dominica or Grenada GDP per capita. It's got 145 million people, and yet its overall GDP is way lower than somewhere like Japan with 125 million, or the UK with 68 million. I mean, it's not a great country to live. It's not a happy country. I don't meet too many happy Russians. Do you meet a happy Russian? You ever met a happy Russian? I've met a happy Ukrainian who was from Crimea and spoke Russian, but he was Ukrainian. So, it's not a happy place. It's not a place where you can just run free and just have a good time with your mates. It's all cold and shit and authoritarian and totalitarian, and a future that I don't want for myself. I don't want it for my family. I certainly don't want it for my stepdaughters. Katrina Tam, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. It's going off the top of the screen because I'm rabbiting on so much. Thank you. That is very kind of you. Do you know our nuke guidance systems are US owned and operated? So if we wanted to alter where we aim, we have to rely on the US. Oh, shit. No, I didn't know that, and that's kind of depressing. We need to sort something out there, I think. Sort that out very, very quickly. And then Alistair Kerr, thank you so much, Alistair, for the 5 politics social gift memberships that you've just bestowed on Anne Phillips, the Witchy Goth, Tokyo Joe, Parker, and Ruth Guthrie. Thank you so much. That is really, really kind of you for doing that. And welcome to our new members. Welcome, new members. Welcome. Did I press the right button then? Did I press welcome new members? I don't know. Wasn't looking at the screen. I could have pressed the subscribe button. I don't know. A former US ambassador told last night on the BBC there were more people in prison in UK than in Russia because that's what they thought. What? That's just bullshit. I mean, wow. Fred was made in 1984. A great year for film. We'll check it out if I can face it. Sounds awful, but necessary. Yeah. And When the Wind Blows. It's also horrific. And Grave of the Fireflies. You know, it's not going to cheer you up, but it's a story of 2 orphans after the in the wake of World War II, living in Japan. It's an animation by Studio Ghibli. And God, oh dear. Oh my God, it's sad. It's very sad. It's very sad. War is hell, especially for the people caught up in it. And one of the reasons why I got so angry after seeing Civil War last year, Alex Garland's film, is that it portrayed Civil War as something nothing like what an actual civil war in America would be like. An American Civil War would be people cowering and dying in their basement, starving to death, or dying of an easily presentable disease, dying of little children dying of diarrhea because they can't get the medicine they need, they can't get the nutrition they need to stay alive. That's what a civil war's like. Most people die quietly in the shadows in the corner of a basement. You know, they don't go out fighting their fucking neighbors with their AR-15s or whatever daft American fantasy they have. But you know, they no spoilers, but you know, at the end of Civil War, yeah, I'll be up for that. I'll be up for that movie, for that happening in real life. But the rest of the movie, moving on. So yeah, Russia is legitimized as a superpower on the world stage, which is just so ridiculous. It's off the charts. And then there's the possibility of further territorial ambitions, which I've talked about before. I think that Moldova, the Transnistria area of Moldova, is particularly at risk, but also the corridor in Lithuania and Poland, on the border of Lithuania and Poland, that leads from from Russia to Kaliningrad, which is an exclave of Russia. I think that's particularly vulnerable as well. I know that Putin's got his eyes on both of those. And Georgia, the country of Georgia, they've obviously got a lunatic in charge at the moment who is absolutely pro-Russian after elections that were infiltrated by the Russians and led to a result that was not seen as free and fair by any independent observer. US isolationism. I mean, if Trump is willing to abandon Europe, where does that leave US commitments globally? Something that we need to talk about. Allies like South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore might start exploring new alliances. I hope they do. I hope they have alliances with Europe. I hope that the coalition of the willing, of the unwilling to be cowed by the Russians, that's who we are, will actually stand up and say, yeah, we have to work together on this. We need to look at those new alliances. But at the end of the day, this is an authoritarian triumph. Trump's actions not just embolden Putin, obviously, but they also potentially Xi Jinping in China and other strongman leaders worldwide. It just empowers them and gives them ideas. Oh, maybe I can do that and get away with it. In the past, they would have thought, oh, I better not do that. I might not get away with it, which is why a lot of people don't commit murder, because they don't think they're going to get away with it. A lot of people would commit murder, I think. I wouldn't, but other people would. If they could get away with it. They can't get away with it. It's very difficult to get away with murder, and this is why so many people who commit murder go to jail, because fucking DNA is going to get you. It's going to get you. You're not going to get away with it. You're not smart enough to get away with murder. If you're told that you're above the law and no one's coming to arrest you and you've always wanted to commit murder, that's the worry, isn't it? That's the worry. So, and it's the erosion of democratic norms. I mean, what message does this send to populists and dictators? It's a free for all. It's an absolute fucking free for all. Leonora re-emigrated to South Africa, Cape Town when I was 5. Thankfully, my mother brought me and my sister back to the UK after a year. South Africa, my dad's idea of an opportunity, my mum's idea of hell. Good point, Leonora. It would take meds to task. Very bleak depiction of the aftermath. I live 14 miles from Rosyth nuclear submarine base. I'm away in the first salvo, so tend not to think about it. Jesus. YouTube, this is Joe Hayes saying, hi Joe, saying, I listened to Kyle Kolinsky and it's somewhat looking good that the American people have at least got off their ass. Have they? Have they though, Joe? Have they? I think any other country, like, there'll just be fucking social unrest, riots, a general strike by now. America likes to portray itself as this, this fucking muscle man, the world's strong man, but it's a bit flabby, isn't it, these days? It's a bit weak. It's not what it was. It's not what it was. It doesn't have the respect it had. I mean, they elected Trump twice, for Christ's sake. Super chat's just come in. Thank you to Gunny for the £2 super chat. I'm 42 and didn't think I'll see this in my life. No. It's like that quote from Gandalf, isn't it? We all think this, we have to live through these times, but what matters is what we do with the time that we're given. And this is the time we're given. So let's make the most of fighting against this bullshit and getting it out the way as soon as fucking humanly possible. Because bullshit just engenders more fucking bullshit. And I think we've had our fill of bullshit. So let's start fighting back. Like, really start fighting back. Especially if there's any Americans watching this, which I doubt because it's quite early in the morning in America. But if Mikey's there, hi Mikey. And then you've got, we've got this discussion that we should have, like how Europe should respond to Trump's betrayal. I think that we should be obviously spending more money on the military. Unfortunately, I'd rather that was spent on hospitals and schools, but whatever. And then you've got the increased cooperation within European countries, and I hope this accelerates our rejoining of the European Union. Let's speed up that timetable. I think that the Labour MPs I've spoken to about this see rejoining the EU as something that's like 20 years away. Let's make it 10 years away. Let's make it 5 years away. Let's get to it. Because no one likes Brexit anymore. The vast majority of people think it was a terrible idea. It was a terrible idea. And we need to make sure that we stop arranging the needs of the village around the needs of the village idiot, or the wants, the crazy demands, the childish, bratish demands of the village idiot. And I think there's a very, very good reason now for the UK to break away from US foreign policy completely. Like, just have a clean break and just say, no, we're sick of this shit. Obviously, when I say clean break, there was a good point made earlier that, well, they're the ones who set our nuclear codes to our nuclear weapons to where they actually land, which is disconcerting. So it will take a lot of effort. But the way Trump is going, I mean, we can't trust him with our data anyway. We can't trust him with our intelligence anyway. I mean, that's something that we're going to have to deal with. Can NATO survive without the US? Yes, I think it can. Yes, I definitely think it can. The EU kind of forgets itself for like just how big and powerful it is, how many people are in the EU and how rich we are. And because it's always often broken down into individual countries, people go, oh, this country's not doing so well, this country. And they, conveniently ignore the countries like Spain that are doing really well at the moment, thank you very much, under quite a socialist government. We tend to misjudge how powerful and good the EU is. And this is one of the means of attack that Putin, the fucker, made on our country when his bot farm and his familiars infiltrated our democracy and fucked up our referendums and our elections. They interfered, and they gave just enough money to the conservative, the vicious, disgusting, horrible vile Conservative Party just enough money to get them on side. You know, it wasn't very much. It wasn't very much. Democracy is really cheap. Just imagine this for a moment. Musk gave Twitter $44 billion to buy Twitter. $44 billion to buy Twitter. It only cost him $250 million to buy America. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. But now he lives completely at the whim of Donald Trump. Like, if Donald Trump, King Trump, as he called himself yesterday, if he decides that that Musk has evoked some kind of displeasure with Trump, then Trump's going to turn on him. And yeah, when that happens, I don't think Musk is going to be long for this world. So yeah, the reaction to what Trump has done is almost universally negative. The only country that seems to be going, fuck yeah, is Russia. From European allies to senior Republicans, it's just like, what the hell, man? This capitulation to Putin isn't just weak, massively weak. Trump being like the art of the deal. Oh, please, fuck off. You know, this is a huge sign of weakness, giving your enemies everything that they want. But also, I mean, it's also dangerous. It's also massively, massively dangerous for what, you know, the law of unintended consequences. Trump apparently wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, he's about to start literally dozens of wars around the world, the way he's going. Great. Border disputes between Djibouti and Eritrea. Fucking wonderful. Breakaway republics all over the world taking up arms and saying, no, we don't want to be ruled by X and Y anymore. Great. Cool. Let's just have lots of violence. Let's have lots of people killed in the crossfire. Wonderful. Great. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to happen under this Trump fucking horrific administration? Under King Trump, who I will say again, he is not leaving he is not leaving the White House unless it's in a box. You know, the sort of stuff that Trump comes out with, if I just repeated them here, and actually meant it on YouTube, I think I'd get demonetized. I think I'd actually get kicked off the platform. It's that bad. That's how bad it is. The shit he comes out with, the pro-Putin, pro-Moscow propaganda. Imagine Reagan in the 1980s going, yeah, Russia's got the right idea. Or in the case of Russia invading, well, not Russia, Soviet Union invading Afghanistan, saying, oh, do you know what? Yeah, they were right to do that. They were right to invade Afghanistan. I'm not going to help the Mujahideen fight back against the Soviets. I'm just going to let the Soviets stay there, you know, forever. Orange toddler has 3 sons, says Diz. Pete, I drove past Dunreary Power Station. I couldn't believe how rusty the big ball was. Hey, not the most reassuring sight. Len, TDS from the Godfather films. Never hate your enemies. It affects your judgment. Michael Corleone. Respect the Don. Come home to the GDP. Strong MAGA. I mean, what? Okay, Damien. I don't think Damien's very, very, very smart. So I'm just going to get rid of him because he appears to be a dickhead. I'm sorry, Damien. I'm sorry your life turned out this way. I'm sorry you didn't achieve anything. I'm sorry that you got hardly any friends and, you know, every day is a struggle. It must be hard for you. The number for the Samaritans is in the description here if you're struggling at the moment. So, you know, my heart goes out to you. I hope you get better. I hope you get better soon. Anyway, so, yeah, the fallout from this is going to reshape geopolitics for the worse. There's no two ways about it. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. In the long run, yes, maybe. But at this moment in time, no, it's not going to help. This doesn't help anyone except for Vladimir Putin. Don't forget, this whole war was set up just so Vladimir Putin could stay alive. Just like the war in Gaza was set up so that Netanyahu could stay out of jail, and Trump's third run for office as president was put in place because he didn't want to go to jail for all the many crimes that felon has committed, that rapist has committed, that scumbag, that piece of human detritus, the most hated, the most reviled man in the world, the man who, you know, next to Hitler will be the most celebrated death when he finally carks it it will be the most celebrated death since the death of Adolf Hitler around the world. It's going to be like the end of Return of the fucking Jedi around the world because people fucking hate Trump. And what a lot of Americans and what a lot of American Trump voters don't understand is just how much the rest of the world finds Trump absolutely revolting and how revealing he is of everything we've kind of suspected about Americans, that they're just these disgusting, fat, cowardly knobheads who just, left to their own devices would do horrible, horrible things. Thankfully, there's enough of a melting pot in America that not everyone is a rich, white, nepo, well, orange in Trump's case, nepo baby who, narcissist psychopath. But the movie's called American Psycho for a reason. There is a uniquely American type of psychopath. And Trump is one of them. Petty, vindictive, and incredibly stupid, lucky, but also protected. Don't forget, he doesn't go down, sorry, spoilers, in American Psycho, he doesn't get done for any of his crimes that he commits because someone's clearing up after him. Because he's so rich, the authorities turn a blind eye to his many, many crimes because he's so rich. Daddy's paying to clean it all up. He thinks he's going mad because where's all the blood gone? Well, someone's been paid to clean it up, mate. Maybe it is all in his head. I don't know. But that's American. That's American Psycho for you. And I'm not saying that all Americans are like Trump. Obviously, clearly they're not. But there's enough of them. There's enough of them. And this is what we've always suspected about them. Fucking cowards. Fucking cowards hiding behind their AR-15s because that makes them feel like a real man. That's the only thing that can make them feel like a real man. Not being good, not being kind, not being friendly, not being good to their neighbors, not treating their partner well, not respecting, other people and how they live. No, just having a big gun and to hide behind and go, I've got a big gun. Fucking Americans. I'm so glad I'm not in America right now. I would leave. I would fucking leave. Absolutely. I'll go live on a fucking beach somewhere, drinking mango juice, goldfish shoals, nibbling at my toes. That's what I would fucking do. Wouldn't stay there. Anyway, so Trump might think he's like, the master of the deal. But all he's done is put the world on a knife edge. And, this is so dangerous in terms of world politics, diplomatic politics, military politics, the way that the world has worked up to this point. And it's heartbreaking that the left's or the centre's comms are so bad that we could never really explain adequately enough to enough people that we're making people's lives better. Their life now is better than it would have been 50 years ago. A lot better. But people want to go back to that life from 50 years ago because they feel like that was better. Because they don't remember it properly, and they don't remember their friends dying of tuberculosis and measles and smallpox and things like that. So let's bring those things back. And that's the problem with nostalgia and the idea that the world in which we're living now, or the countries in which we're living now, are somehow worse off is bullshit. We are way better off than we were in the past on pretty much every metric. Even though I've got a soft spot for the 90s and feel like we were freer in the 90s. But were we really? Because I didn't have a platform like this. I couldn't just do a video each day, talk to you for an hour about what's going on in the world. I couldn't do that. And the tools weren't there. The mechanism wasn't there. The internet has made everything so much easier. We were talking about, buying stuff from a catalogue and it taking 6 weeks to fucking arrive. That's how it used to be. Now you order stuff online and it arrives the next day or even the same fucking day. Our lives have become a lot easier. The luxury goods, former luxury goods like televisions and stuff, have dropped in price like a stone. Things are getting better, but it doesn't feel that way. And because the left is so bad at communicating that things are getting better, we just keep harking back to a golden era that never fucking existed when things were boss. We do this in this country, we do this in America, we do this in other places. And what I say to that is, look, things could be better. I'm not going to lie about that. The economy hasn't grown for 15 fucking years, 17 years, because of the Tories. Because the Tories were shit at governing this country. And as a result, our economy hasn't grown. And as a result of that, poverty has grown in this country. But absolute poverty has actually gone down. Di, thank you very much for the £20 super chat, my friend. That is very kind of you. Couldn't agree more, Graham. Europe as a single nationist will try far to be the most powerful nation, militarily, economically, culturally, and of course, most tolerant and helping the rest of the world. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not one nation. I don't want us to be one nation. I'd like us to be the United States of Europe, in that we work together when we're not under one boss. And one of the things that I really hate about the American democratic system is it puts way too much power in the hands of one squishy little man. And that squishy little man is somehow in charge of the government. He's the head of state. He's the head of the army, the military, the Air Force, the Navy, the DOJ, the CIA, the FBI, the Coast Guard, the Homeland Security, you name it. People, the IRS, clearly, like, they are in charge of so many facets of American life. And I just think it's wrong. I just think it's so wrong. And you can't get rid of them. They are elected for 4 years and they will stay in that office unless they die for those 4 years. And think, the 25th Amendment can be, the 25th Amendment's never going to be invoked. Never going to be invoked. Because who do American presidents put in their cabinet? Their friends. And if they have a slim majority in both houses, they just get them affirmed. They just say, yeah, fair enough. You can be my friend. It's some guy from Fox News who knows nothing about the fucking, world strategy of geopolitics. You can be in charge of our military. Yeah, you can be in charge of the Department of Defense. Yeah, sure, man. Terrifying. A shit system. But, no democratic system is perfect. There's lots of different democratic systems and different flavors work better in different countries. But the American system of having a president who is head of state and head of the government, I think is wrong. It's shit. You should separate those roles. You should have a head of state who is could be called a president, but like in India or in Germany, where they just go around opening supermarkets and shit, they don't actually have any political power as such, unless there's a constitutional emergency. And we have that with our monarch. We have I'm not saying it's a great system, but we have someone else who is the head of our state, who goes around the world representing our country culturally. Whereas the cultural dimension of our outward bound expeditions around the world can be covered by King Charles. You have Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, who can sort out the diplomacy and the military stuff, the politics, which is what leader of the politics side of things should be doing. I don't think you should conflate the cultural side and the politics side, because what happens is something horrible like 9/11 happens, and what happens, instead of people going, hey, this is all the president's fault, fuck him, they go, oh no, we've got to rally around the flag, we've got to support the president now more than ever, and your approval ratings go up to 90%. Something that will happen with Trump. He is setting things up, and he's defunding the CIA and the FBI, and he's fucking the military. He's fucking all kinds of, like, the Department of Defense is fucked. Like, that they are going to be attacked at some point. He's making enemies all over the world, and at some point, a friend or relative of those people, or maybe those people themselves, will get into America, and they have nothing left to live for. So they're going to try and take out as many Americans as they can on their way out of this world, and that's going to be a tragedy. It's going to be horrific. And Trump is going to use it. And because of the rally around the flag effect, instead of people being out, baying for Trump's blood for causing this to happen, his popularity, his approval rating will go through the fucking roof. I guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it. It's happened before. It'll happen again. It's all just a little bit of history repeating. So I'm going to just quickly go over to the news. So I've got something exciting for you today. I'm going to be doing a new show at 6 o'clock today called Hughes of the World. I've already done 40 shows back when COVID was happening. And each week I looked at a different country and told you fast facts about it, a bit of the history of the place, a bit of the culture, what food they like, all that kind of shit, and my experiences in that country. Okay, so I've been to every country in the world, as many of you know. I won't shut up about it because I've done that. And tonight's episode is going to be about Côte d'Ivoire in West Africa, and it might be a country that you know fuck all about. So come join us and learn some stuff. We'll be pulling a little bit away from the current politics of what's going on at the moment, I'm talking about the history of Cote d'Ivoire, the history of West Africa in general, and how all that place got set up with the Gold Coast and the Ivory Coast and the Slavery Coast, which it was. Yeah, we'll be talking about that at 6 o'clock. It'll be live, it'll be interactive. You'll be able to add your comments. Now, in the run up to that, I made the first 33 episodes on this channel, but then I made a separate channel called Graham Hughes Travels, which I put the last 7 episodes on. And because I didn't build that channel up enough or fast enough, I decided to sack it off. And because it was a lot, I didn't have enough subscribers to enable super chats on it. And so it just wasn't worth doing it because it took me all day to research the stuff that I needed to say for the show. And so I was like, oh God, I'm doing all this work. Like I'm working for an entire day, and then I'm doing a show that only gets a couple of hundred views. I don't even get £1 for that off YouTube. So yeah, I've taken all those videos off I've downloaded them from Graham Hughes Travels, and I re-uploaded 4 episodes yesterday. I covered Colombia and China and Chile, and today we're going to be covering 3 more countries on the list, and the next one's going to be Comoros. Okay, so we've got Comoros, which is going to go live at 10 o'clock today, and then we're going to have the next couple this afternoon. Now, when Comoros goes live, you will be automatically redirected from this over to the Hughes of the World Comoros. I'll be in the chat. There'll be a live chat going on, but obviously it's a recorded thing that was recorded back in February 2022. So there'll be lots of references to Boris Johnson and parties and Partygate and Sue Gray and things. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? It might actually be 3 years since the invasion of Ukraine. So that might get mentioned. I don't know. Ian, so I'm basically re-uploading the 7 videos that were on a different channel to this channel today. And that'll take me up to episode 41 tonight, which will be Cote d'Ivoire. So please join us for that. Join me for that, because I want to do different things on this channel. I don't want to just talk about politics. I want to sort of lean into the social side of things as well. And hopefully, I'm trying to work on getting Ben Chambers to come on each week and talk about movies and stuff. So we're talking about something else. We're talking about something else other than bloody Trump and all that kind of shit. Big thank you, big shout out to Ian. Hi, thanks for the Hughes of the World uploads. I learned so much from the China one. Oh, brilliant! I'm glad you did, Ian. I learned so much like doing them. I mean, I don't know all this stuff off the top of my head. This is all relying on lots and lots of Lonely Planet guidebooks. Oh, sorry, that's upside down. Bhutan there. I don't know if you can read that, Mongolia. I realised that I've got my camera sort of set a little bit exposed there, so I'll just turn it down a little bit exposed. But yeah, got me Lonely Planet the World here to go through. Got terrible maps. Great book. What else have I got here? I've got the Atlas of Extinct Countries. I love that. And we've also got Hughes of the World. That's my book. That's great. Man of the World, which is well worth a read. It's quite funny. First year of my travels around the world. One day I'll write the second year and the third year and the fourth year down, but unfortunately, as I didn't go to private school, I don't automatically get a publisher for anything I want to do. Who's the World alphabetical order? Yes, they are, Scott. So I had to think about this because I have done Congo brackets Republic of, but then I didn't do Congo brackets Democratic Republic of, because I'm leaving the Democratic Republic of Congo for the D's, like around Denmark and Djibouti, because people refer to it as the DRC. So I thought I'll put it down as the DRC. So we'll put it alphabetically as the DRC, even though it is the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is different from the Republic of Congo. But that's kind of like when you're in Congo, they call it Congo. When you're in Brazzaville, they call their country Congo, and they call the country over the river Congo, they call it DRC. So it's like the USA, do you know what I mean? And America, because America could refer to the entire continent, 2 continents, North America, South America, or it could refer to America as a country. So just to differentiate, I'm going to call it, the USA, the UK, and do it alphabetically that way. Some countries have changed their names. I mean, Chechnya and the Czech Republic, that doesn't really change anything much. But something like Eswatini changed name. So if I'd done them all to get, got to the S's, and then suddenly it's like, Swaziland has changed its name to Eswatini. I'm like, oh shit, that's out of order. But so far it's all in order, so that's good. Eswatini will be coming along in the E's. One of the fascinating things actually that I've noticed is I'm up to episode 41 and I'm still on the C's. There's only 200 countries in the world, so nearly a quarter of them you can get through just beginning with A, B, and C. That's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad. Listen, I'm going to just quickly run through the papers very quickly because obviously we do need to get over to the other show. So what it is it's a premiere, so it's a pre-record. It's a live show that I did 3 years ago that I'm now re-uploaded onto this channel, and we'll be able to watch it together so we can comment on it while I'm doing stupid stuff. And I realize watching these back that I really should probably edit them and take out all the shit where I'm just talking to people and talking about the Discord server and, the technical things and, the show that I'm doing on Sunday, which isn't relevant. But I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that it is freewheeling and live and stuff. So I've left it in for now. I might do at the end of all this, I might collect them all together and do a big re-upload and redo the graphics and everything and make it all fancy. But that's a long way down the line. So man of the world through time. Yes, indeed. Okay, so just quickly to go over to the papers. We've got Zelensky is no dictator. Starmer tells Trump to Ukraine with love. I love this cover of the British flag there. This is Starmer calls Zelensky to pledge UK support after deranged Trump calls him dictator. Unfortunately, that flag's upside down. Now, I've got a feeling they may have flipped that to make the words fit where they wanted it to on the screen. I hope they flipped it because I'll be... Oh, actually, no. Even if... Yeah, no, they flipped it. If they flipped it. No, even if they flipped it, it would still be the wrong way around. Oh, shit. There you go. UK troops on exercise in Romania yesterday. You need to suss out how to put the flag the right way up, lads. Sorry. Are you in distress? As we confirm, £4.5 billion fight fund. Britain will press ahead with £4.5 billion to Ukraine aid as the US appears to side with Russia. Trump appalls world with dictator blast at Zelensky. And this is what the chief whip saw. This is a book that's coming out. A Tory trapped with 12 naked women in a brothel. Minister Rishi called fucking useless. Suella's wild 10-minute rant and sordid encounters galore. Well, doesn't surprise me. Shameful Trump attack stuns world. This is on the front cover of the Mail and the Express. These are very pro-Trump newspapers, and they're calling him a bastard. Putin's poodle there with Trump. Wingnut man baby Donald Trump has blamed Ukraine for being invaded by Russia, much to mad Vlad Putin's delight. Is the front cover of the Star. Sensible headline for a change. Trump deepens rift with Ukraine by labeling Zelensky a dictator. There's a picture of Emma Raducanu there, who's got a stalker. I'm not really surprised she's got a stalker because she's getting attacked by, she's on the front cover of all the newspapers even when she doesn't do anything. Trump calls Zelensky a dictator as rift grows over peace talks. Trump attacks dictator Zelensky. Reeves looks at £4,000 cash ISA limit to boost economy. Asylum seeker whose receding hairline and facial hair is a child. Says judges. Okay, this is the fucking the Telegraph is just mad, isn't it? And see how they've got quite a neutral thing there. It's not like calling like the Express and the Mail. At least they were like outrage, but this isn't. Comedy on the NHS. Trump calls Zelensky a dictator and deepening rancor over Russian talks. And there you go. Trump can fuck off. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap up in a moment. Take you over there. We've got a 5-minute countdown for the live stream. It's not really a live stream. They call it a premiere. The premiere to start. But it's funny because you'll have the messages coming up on the screen and they're from 3 years ago. So some of you might see some of the messages that you left 3 years ago if you were watching this channel 3 years ago. So yeah, all I have to say is thank you so much for watching. If you would like to join some of the people in the chat here who have little roses after their name and get your name at the end of the show, all you need to do is just hit the join button underneath. It's like £2 or £4 a month if you can afford it. I know times are hard right now, but it goes up. There's other layers. There's like £10 and £20 or whatever. If you feel this is worth it, if you feel this is helping in some way, please dive on. And even if if you're a lurker and you don't like leaving comments or whatever, supporting the channel is a good way to go. But if you can't do that, please subscribe anyway, because it doesn't cost anything, and get some people to watch it. Get other people to say, hey, I watch this guy on YouTube. I find him mildly entertaining. I find him mildly knowledgeable about stuff. I don't know, maybe not. Just mildly entertaining, I guess. And get more people watching this channel, because the more people that watch it, the more the more shows I can make, the more stuff I can make, the more interesting content that's very much anti-Putin, anti-Trump, anti-conservatives, anti-Brexit stuff that we can get online. Because at the moment, the right-wing press and the right-wing social media just absolutely flood the zone. Don't forget, you've got the world's biggest Nazi, Elon Trump, owning one of the world's biggest platforms, Twitter, which I know a lot of people have left, but it's still there. It's still there, still lurking. Nick and Diff says we'll sort subscription ASAP. Oh, thank you, Nick and Diff. You don't have to. It's not obligatory. Veg Pie says I saw T-Rex at Wembley Empire Pool in 1972, first ever gig. Fantastic! Oh my god, gels, totally gels. T-Rex as your first gig. That is a cool first gig. Modern Graham and past Graham look the same. It's the hat. I do sometimes watch stuff back that I've done and just cringe. I was just like, total cringe. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. So if you keep watching, you should be automatically redirected to the Hughes of the world about Comoros, this tiny little African island nation of 3 nations that exist between Tanzania and Madagascar, off the east coast of Africa, southeast coast of Africa. And fascinating things. And also, this particular episode has got a bunch of my footage from when I was in Comoros, because I was kind of stuck there for 6 weeks or something, like a very, very long time, waiting for a boat to take me back to Africa. So if you want to watch it, great, and I'll be in the chat along with you. So I hope to see you there. And until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. 6 o'clock tonight, don't forget.